Okay. Hattab Yassar. We greet everyone in the listening audience and everyone on the line. We welcome you on this date to our question and answer format, which has been held throughout the years by our master teacher and guide, Pt.1, who's our spiritual guide in this day and time, our warner. At this time, we open this forum for any questions anybody may have in the audience, and we will also address questions that's been posted online as well. For those who are online, we want to make it clear, since we're being bombarded with so many questions, we can only answer 1 or 2 questions per class at a time. So please be patient. All right. Anybody in the audience have a question? Step right up to the mic. What's up, brother?
What's up? The ancient astronaut theory is gaining momentum among the scientific community.
Yes.
And the master teacher's been teaching this ever since this theory was taboo. Can you answer a teacher that concerning this theory and how it relates to us as Nuwaupians, because this evidence that they're gaining is like revealing most of our history.
Okay. Can you repeat that question one more time?
The question was, how does that relate to our history and the evidence that they discover on a regular basis?
Understood. I will start by saying this. It's a statement our master teacher says many years ago. He said, truth will come and false things must perish. No matter what, the truth is always everlasting. And because since he's been teaching since the year 1963, 269, on to year 1970 with the truth, or when that seal was opened up and the truth flooded in, right? It was inevitable. All they tried to do is kept trying to they tried to cover things up, while our master teacher has put out so much information by way of his disciples, by way of his students, you know what I'm saying, through the world, that they now have to address it. You know what I'm saying? Especially in this day and time, we're in the age of information. So the thing about it is, since they locked our master teacher out in the rock, a lot of these things are making more and more public, and they even created a whole new genre, for lack of a better word, dealing with this aspect of knowledge. Before it was considered the UFO theories. Remember that? Yes. And our master teacher explained how, and made it clear to us, how they had made up words like UFO or UFONs, right, to classify things. That's the thing. When they don't know something, they try to classify things to make themselves look like they are the authority or make themselves look intelligent. You know what I'm saying? When in fact, all they're doing is repeating and uncovering information. They're not discovering anything that is new. You know what I'm saying? And all they're doing is trying to find a way to tie themselves into the pictures. Because this is what I found about watching that show. I watched the show also. It's very interesting. What you find interesting about watching the show, every episode, somewhere along the line, they mention Egypt. In some way, some form, they mention the pyramids. They go back to the older civilizations, right? And then what they do is they try to run ahead to their time span and include their mythologies into it. You know what I'm saying? They try to tie in how the Vikings were sophisticated, how the Olympian gods and the Greek gods had to be real based upon this and this theory and that theory. And it's becoming a major popularity. But if you notice, most of it is based upon speculatism and questioning, question and answer format. Nobody really put question and answer format before the world like that, you know what I'm saying, besides our master teacher. That way of teaching, which stimulates the mind. Exactly. But at the same time, they try to, you know, when you watch their tactics and how they do it, they try to make it like it's in speculation. We really don't know, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's a word. It's a Greek word. It's something that they do a lot.
Hypothesis.
Thank you very much. Hypothesis. Right there on the bottom, right there. Thank you very much, Elder. You know, they try to have hypotheses based upon these things. The fact is, when I watch things like that, I'm happy because it makes things easier. You know what I'm saying? It's information. The information has always been here. Our master teacher formatted it or informed us in such a way that we're able to tap into all of it and make sense of it and line it up and give historical accuracy and relate it to today. Right? We could go in the past, deal with the present, right, to blueprint the future. That's what it's all about. So we know about our past. We know about our ancient ancestors as Panotharu. We know how sophisticated or how advanced they are and still were today. Because if you notice, and this is another program you may want to watch, it's called the Pyramid Code, you know what I'm saying? And those are very good references because all it does is when you read a Patarak or actual fact, our master teacher takes it to a whole nother level. Wherever they go, he takes it to a whole nother level. But it's good to relate to other people who may not be there on that level. You know what I'm saying? So it's good information, very good information. You know, but of course you have to have the mind to decipher what is real or irreality from reality, even dealing with them. Because no matter what, I have not seen a African theorist yet on that show. It's always them. And their line of questioning I pay attention to the most. It's literally like opening up one of the scrolls from the 1990s. Like, are there mystery clouds? Are there, mystery clouds, UFOs, or the body parts of God, or, the science of the pyramid, or the ancient Egypt and the pharaohs? You name it. All they're doing is, our master teacher, you could compile a lot of their shows, and it'll be in one of our scrolls, one of our books. You know what I'm saying? So as far as what Wu-nuwaup stand with it, as teachers who's going out there to raise the fruits or raise the consciousness of our people, use that information. Why not? Use it, reference it, you know what I'm saying? But also always point them to the right authority or the right guide, which is none other than our master teacher, who's here in this day and time for us. You know what I'm saying? Pana Bab Yanun. I hope that was very helpful. And if you have any more questions based upon that, by all means, go ahead and ask. Before I address any online questions, anybody else from the audience have any questions? Okay.
All right, Patep. This question is coming from a brother, call himself, name is Reese S, and he wants to know what are the 9 species of tides?
What are the 9 species of patahites?
Yeah, he says species from tides. What are all 9 species?
I see. Okay, and based upon his questions, I know our master teacher revealed that there are 9 species of tahites. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, 5 species of mongoloids and 3 of caucasoids. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That came up in an update not too long ago. Now, when dealing with species, right? Let's look at the cat family. What is the name for the family that the cats belong to? This includes lions, this includes tigers, this includes your domesticated cats.
They're all felines.
Felines, right? And in the feline family, you have different species according to where nature placed them.
Correct.
In the human genome, you also have that as well. But the trick is, or the how people can be fooled is they think where a person is geographically located, that determines the species. Like for example, when the colonists, the European colonists came and infected Africa, right? They're the ones who divided the land and said Nigeria, Uganda, you know what I'm saying, Syria, you name it. They categorized, it into parts, you know what I'm saying, or section where they could take advantage of the people and divide the minds. Just the word Africa, Africa. When you're dealing with species, you're dealing with certain genetic traits. And the thing about it is to determine the species, the thing that our master teachers is revealing us is the human genome has not only terrestrial genome, but also extraterrestrial genome. There are over 200 that are unaccounted for in the human genome. So to determine species, it takes somebody who understands the human genetics to really break down and look at you and say, okay, you belong to this particular species. And this day and time, it's likened unto tribes. But that can be tricky also because tribes, right, were also influenced by the invaders who came in and mixed their infected seeds, created sub-tribes of Africans also. Because many species of humanoids, for example, the people from Asia, the people from India came into Africa and mixed with the people along the lines of Africa. And you had different species or new subspecies of Africans that came out of that. So when you determine the 9 original species, it would take somebody who is skilled enough, like our master teacher, to really determine that. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is, if the common denominator is Ptahites. Ptah, you know what I'm saying? It's like saying, for example, who are the 9 sons of Ptah? Or who are the 9, it doesn't necessarily have to be sons, you know, but the common denominator, like I said, is Ptahites, which means that they all have a singular link to Ptah.
Common link.
You know what I'm saying? Who, go ahead.
No.
Okay, I thought you were asking another question.
No, go ahead.
Okay, but I hope I answered the question for the time being.
That was pretty good. This next question is from someone named Toby Ambrose, and he asked.
Can you say that name again?
Toby Ambrose.
Toby Ambrose.
Yeah.
Okay.
They want to know.
Where does he hail from, if you don't mind me asking?
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say? Okay.
I'm assuming he's from here, because we have some questions from people in the UK.
Here from Georgia?
Also. Doesn't say.
Go ahead with the question.
That's funny.
Hey.
But he says, when you're asleep, what part of your body are you charging? Is it your mind, your body, your soul, spirit, or what?
Okay, I understand. One of the things that our master teacher explained to us many years ago, when the physical body is in a sleep-like state, the spiritual body becomes more active. And people who are very spiritually sensitive have certain experiences. Like, for example, they may have out-of-body experiences where they actually leave their body, go to the next room, see what's going on. Somebody may be playing cards or making food here. This happens. So the spiritual body becomes more active, and a person becomes more sensitive to have impressions or influences in the form of what they interpret as dreams. You know what I'm saying? So the mind also can slumber at that time also, the mind and the body, because the thing about dreams is your dream could be a collaboration of the things you experienced within the last 24 hours. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly, within the last 24 hours. So for example, our master teacher gave, you may have been walking down the street, you're agitated or thinking about a particular problem. A dog comes by and barks loudly and scares you, right?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, this loud ambulance is just flying by. That's another form of shock to your nervous system, which is all linked to your brain, right? So as you go into your sleep-like state, your brain interprets it as a giant dog chasing you with red glowing eyes.
Barking real loud.
Barking real loud, and you wake up in a full sweat, wondering what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I've experienced that. I may be, or most of us, of course, experience that. You may be trying to solve a problem on this side, right? And you cannot. And your mind is still tumbling, trying to find a solution for it. So when you're in a dreamlike state, your mind is also trying to find a solution to that particular problem. And you may dream several problems combined, trying to figure out how to deal with it.
Sometimes you get a solution.
Right, and it's a way also of the brain or the mind, you know, preserving itself.
Okay.
So you have that. But also, like I mentioned earlier, that our master teacher mentioned, you become more sensitive, or you're more spiritually active when you are asleep. So most of the time, you have beings that can vibrate and go down to your level where you are and introduce spiritual impressions or messages. And those messages may come for you. The message that come for you becomes a vision.
Okay.
I had a vision of something that grand that happened.
Makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Or should I say a vision for others, and then a message that comes particularly for you and only for you. You know what I'm saying? So those things actually happen. Because we have to remember, as Nagaru, we vibrate on more than just this physical density.
Okay.
We are spiritually, we have a ka'u. You know what I'm saying? We are etheric in nature. We have a soul and we have a spirit. And they all vibrate on different rates. But it's still you here. So who is to say other beings are not also vibrating on that level and are able to interpret or leave impressions known as messages? You know what I'm saying? To you, for others, or just for yourself. To build you up, because you may be of that morphogenetic code, or you may be of that etheric relations. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you go at. So to answer the questions, it's your body that is at rest.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And when you're in a state of meditation, your mind, there's a meditation to put your mind at ease, or your mind is at rest. You know, the moment I close my eyes, guess what I'm doing? The moment I'm in a slumber state, I'm no longer receiving impression from this state that we're in. This is a physical world of material things, right?
Right.
And it's as dense as it can be. And it's full of photons and phonons, which is dealing with light and sound. And you're constantly being bombarded with light frequencies.
Light particles.
Exactly. And different particles from this state of existence. And you're just taking it in all the time. You're constantly taking in information. The moment I look at that brother, I'm taking that information in. And what it does, like our master teacher broke down, is that light information is being processed and it's being converted to chemical energy in my brain, and it's being stored there. So I'm constantly just taking stuff in, bombarded. The moment I close my eyes, guess what I'm doing? I'm shutting all that away. I'm now relaxing myself, resting my mind, resting my body, and I'm now recharging myself.
All right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I hope that answered the brother question. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to take one more, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate the class.
All right, this question is from someone who calls himself Sagiga. He's from New York. He says, Ahatep, in the Holy Tablets, chapter 2, tablet 1, verse 35, page 152, it said that the Orion Galaxy was originally a 6-star, 6-sun constellation. How did it become a 7-star, 7-sun constellation as it is today?
And what is the brother name again?
Calls himself Sagiga. Sagiga. It's chapter 2, tablet 1, verse 35. He says on page 1, yeah, chapter 2, tablet 1, verse 35 on page 152.
With that question, I'm going to pass it on to my good brother, Atun Hutep Emre Atun Raye.
Hi, Tab, y'all. What do you say, page 152? What page you said it was? Verse what?
Tablet 1, verse 35.
Repeat the question one more time, please.
All right. He says, it said that the Orion Galaxy was originally a 6-star, 6-sun constellation. How did it become a 7-star, 7-sun constellation as it is today?
I can't explain that because I need more clarity. I need more detail about that. What I need to know is where did he get the what it was said 7-sun, 7-star constellation? Because what I know is that was talking about Pleiades. That's a 7-sun, 7-star constellation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the 7 sisters, they call it sometimes.
Yeah. So when you get a chance, can you please ask the brother where did he get the information that we get the 7-sun, 7-star constellation?
I guess he's referencing, if you didn't find it, he was referencing.
I mean, I looked at it right there. It says 6-sun, 6-star constellation. So, but he's giving 2 references in the tablets, right?
No,
Or
there's
that
not one. I don't know where he's
Yeah. So when you get a chance, go back to him and ask him where did he get the reference from when he said 7.
All right.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. This is coming from a brother named Kobino Ray. He said December 7th, 2010 is the update that Pt.1 changed the calendar date from 19 days to 15 days. He wants to know about that.
He said the calendar.
Yeah.
He said what calendar are you talking about?
He just said Pt.1 changed the calendar date from 19 days to 15 days. June 26, 1945 is our Wu-nuwaup zero-time reference. I guess he was he's giving that because I think he was referencing a class when somebody asked about the calendar date, you know, and I think he probably was just giving that. It wasn't really a question.
I
It was
don't
a question.
know. I don't know.
He does have a question. He said, is it possible that we as the Wabians have multiple time zones going on at the same time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have multiple time zones because you got to remember that you have leap years. You hear me? Then, like, if you read the book called Our Calendar, how it breaks down how on different parts of the planet Earth, everybody's in a different time zone. So that would be multiple time zones going on because nobody's in sync with the same time because of the planet Earth's rotation. You feel me?
Sure.
And the way the planet Earth rotation is like if it's sunset here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's sunrise in China. You feel me?
Sure.
Because this, when that sun rises, it rises in the east and sets in the west. But when you see the sun set in the west, according to perception,
It's rising in the
on
east.
the upper side is exactly because of the angles. You know what I'm saying? And you got different time zones because of the rotation of the planet Earth. So you have multiple time zones because you're governed time by the rotation of the planet Earth and the sun.
Sure. All right. All right. I have another question.
Yeah.
A brother named Dante Colefield. He wants to know, who are the intergalactic confederation that Dr. Malachi Z. York talks about in the Holy Tablets, chapter 1, tablet 2, verse 29?
The master teacher never went into detail or never told none of the student teachers. Not myself personally, I don't know if Matt knows, but he never. I talked to a lot of other teachers, and I don't ever remember the master teacher actually going in detail about who was a part of the Intergalactical Federation. But we do know that certain species or certain races were a part of it, like Rahman. A lot of people don't understand that when the master teacher was channeled by a being called Rahman, right?
Right.
He was a Hindu. You feel what I'm saying?
I remember the picture.
Then you got to remember that the master teacher was channeled by Marduk El, who was a Anunnaki. You know what I'm saying? Then the master teacher was, so you're dealing with different species, and these beings are working with the master teacher. So that means these are particular members. If you look at their background, their race, where they came from, their species.
I think I remember he mentioned, I think Sananda, I think, was one of them.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So, he had different beings that channel him, but not from the, if you notice that a lot of them are not from the same species.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're dealing with a certain type of information. This is why when the master teacher had particular pictures of himself over the years, and he said that I am Murdoch, I'm a newbie. People say, people are saying that the master teacher is schizophrenic or he's crazy, but he's not. It's just that these beings are using him to relay certain information.
He let me suggest it.
Because people are so esoteric, right?
Spooky.
And don't want to deal with the esoteric doctrine that the master teacher got. He has to come on an esoteric level. And this is why the master teacher numerous of times always put reference inside the books where he talked about the different schools that he traveled, right?
Right.
As a Mason, as a Knights Templar, as a Rosicrucian, and so on, right? As a Shriner, as a Hebrew Israelite, and so on. Because people couldn't accept that he is a Ilit Mutajesset or a Padmanzal. You know what I mean? So people would say, oh, he's crazy. I don't believe that. But they still like to hear his teachings.
Sure.
So the whole thing is I see many of people try to travel the world and try to become master teachers and study other people's doctrines dealing with different subjects. But you're just researching. The master teacher is the only one who can actually break down this stuff and break it down on an esoteric level and then bring it all together. You got people calling Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and calling so many other people master teachers, but these are guys that are leading authorities in the fields that they study and got master degrees in. You know what I mean? The Caucasian does not have the authority or the knowledge to say, I'm gonna give you a master degree, because they're not masters. You feel me? So they still figuring stuff out. And we know that for years, the Caucasian race has been lying to us, and they never went back and said, we made a mistake. There was a lot of good people that died because the earth was round. But they was told, no, it's not round, it's flat. Burn them. You feel me?
Yeah.
So, the Galactical Federation was always different beings that came to the master teacher. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know the core, it could be thousands of star systems that's a part of the Galactical Federation. Because the Galactical ain't talking about solar federation, the galaxy.
This is a big galaxy.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. This next question is coming from a sister named Nakeba Mora.
Yeah.
And she says, Hatep, I'm 20 years old. I have no religious background, nor was I ever interested in religion. My question is, do I still have to go through those schools of religion, reading those books from back in the day, or do I have to start off with the actual facts and patriarchs?
You start off with the actual facts and patriarchs. Those schools were for us, those who walk those schools. And I know I meet a lot of people, and people say, oh, I wouldn't give to be a part of the Ansar Law School, you know what I mean? Or I wouldn't give to be part of the Hebraic school y'all went through, or the Holy Tabernacle Ministries. The master teacher always said that when you come to this information, this is the time that was for you. Some people couldn't make it in the Ansar school.
Some people wasn't born.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Some people, parents would even allow them to come into even at the age that they were, because they were like, no, I want you with those guys are cold. You know, the perception they put out there about us, you feel me? So a lot of, it was a lot of stuff that was going on in these schools that you had to be mentally prepared for it, physically and spiritually. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Certain people can take those schools, certain people didn't. Is that your book right there?
What?
You know what I'm saying? So what happened is a lot of people, it ain't for you. Let's put it like that. 'Cause I was in those schools. I seen a lot of good people come and go. I see a lot of bad people come and go. Because it was a mental school, you know what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
And Bob Pop being the master that he is, he made it that way. This is the same way, the relationship between the master and student. He may be hard, but he's firm. You feel me?
Sure.
And what happened is a lot of people was looking for this mystical being that was sitting down in the lotus position
Floating all day.
with incense in his hands and levitating. This is what they were looking for. You was looking for some Hollywood master. You hear me?
Yeah.
When Pop was a real master, he's just like, look, it's about discipline and order. A lot of people didn't like discipline and order. You know what I'm saying? This is actually the most easiest school physically for people, but it's more mental.
I
You know what
agree. I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we're here to answer those questions. So anything that you don't know about the Islamic school, the Hebraic school, the Jewish school, and so on, this is why we have people who've been here now to consider the elders. It was a tape called Egyptian Ma'at.
I remember that.
When someone asked that same question to the master teacher, they say, I hope that it was enough, what he said, what's the correct word? Masters raised amongst you. You hear me? I mean, there's enough masters amongst you who will be able to pass that information on to you. This is what the master teacher was saying, that my students that I grew for so many years will eventually become masters one day, right? Not master teachers, right? But masters of the experiences that they went through for these different schools.
Yeah.
And what happened is, when people say, well, I don't understand it, then we can actually break it down so easily. Because you got to remember that as Ansars, when we was out there tablighin and propagating, we had to be very thorough. We didn't go the way we go now, where we can just go off of muscle memory, just to be dropping jewels. We had to know our scriptures. We had to know our quotes.
And language.
We had to know the language, exactly. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when somebody asked you that, and we knew that, because this was all we did all day. All we did was study. You feel what I'm saying? And we used to be in classes with Imam Isa, the Lamb, Malachi York, and he would just come off the top of his dome, and we used to sit there like, how does Pop do that? Well, we just ask him random questions, and he's just knocking it out, and like Pop don't go, he don't even have a scripture in his hand. He's just like, am I right or wrong?
And just quoting it.
Huh? And he'd be just going off rapid fire, right? But now, if you go now, you're looking at 2013, because we've been groomed by him. A lot of us are able to do the same thing he did 40 years ago. You feel me?
Yeah.
But we don't have, only thing, the difference between us and him is that he's still being given information, and we're still his students.
Okay. That was a good answer. This next question is from a person named Kansu Reyamun. He said, Hatep Yassar, I'm Kansu Reyamun. I have a few questions about the 9 species of Negroes. Is the Watusi one of the 9 species? If not, who are they? What species go back to Mu and Atlantis?
All right. I know I've been talking a lot of classes about the different species, right? When I was breaking those classes down, I was giving people a lot of examples of how you have different breeds of Africans in Africa. And when you look at certain key tribes, they don't look nothing or have any similar features as the other tribes. If you say Watusi, or you say Khoisan, or you say Usa, or the Osa, or the Zulus, or the Bantus, or the Fangs, or the Tikar, the Peles, the Grebels, the Basas, I can keep going on and on, right? The tribes that we're talking about in Africa are not species, but you have species who broke off and became tribes. You feel me? But they start mixing it with other tribes and created sub-races of tribes or hybrids of tribes or combinations. You feel me? When you look into the species, right, there's so many to be that you can pinpoint, but you have to sit there and study each geographical area each different tribe, and you had to break down which one had the most distinct features. Because even when you talk about a Yoruba, nobody in the Yoruba tribe have a particular, say, a common feature. Because the Yoruba men, because they're patriot, will marry Fulani women, Hausa women, Igbo women, Idu women, Benin women, you hear me? And then the children are born and say, oh, these are Yoruba, you feel me? Then the child will come out with different features, and you be like, wait, and you say you're a Yoruba, but you look Igbo. Like the sister right here, she would actually can pass off as a Igbo, or she can pass off she can even pass off like she's from South Africa, you feel me? This brother right here can pass off as a Malian or Nigerian, you feel me? And you can go through the whole crowd, like the brother right here, he can actually pass off as an East African, because he has an Eritrean type of feature. You feel what I'm saying? So, when you talk about the 9 species, we'll have to wait for our master teacher, Malachi Kobeni. You have to go into what different tribe, because you have to go back. You feel me? You can't go by the 9 species today, because they've been, even the 9 species have even broken up into so many sub-tribes, that you will have to literally go to Africa and go into the villages and find the tribes that's indigenous there before they were mixed in with the other tribes who live in the cities. Because what happens when people look at these tribes, they're going to the cities, like Accra, you know what I'm saying? What's the word? Monrovia, Dakar, you feel me? Johannesburg, and you're looking at a hodgepodge, a melting pot, like you here in America, you feel me? So what you gotta do is you have to go to the villages and look up the natives and look at their features. Like if you go, like right now, you go to Andaman Islands, right? That's off of the coastline of India, right? And these islands, they have a tribe called the Jawara. And when you look at the Jawara people, they don't have various features. They all look similar because they don't mix in outside of the region or with any other species. You feel me? So that will be a species that you will know in ancient times as the Bataites. But then you got the coastline people of South Africa who don't look like the Jawa, and they are just as old. Because that's a different species of a Bataite also. But these beings are not melanin rich. They have what you call a lighter keratin type complexion, but they are older than a lot of the darker skinned African tribes in Africa. You feel what I'm saying? So certain species will have to be pinpointed by our master teacher to let you know which ones is which. Did that answer your question, my brother?
Tua, that did, thanks.
Anybody got any questions? I know y'all been studying now, right? Go ahead. You ain't got nothing for me today?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Hit the microphone, man. Don't be scared to ask, because you be on here, because you be here on Tuesday asking questions, you be like flowing. Have anybody read the new book called The Master Keys? Birth of the Earth and the Matrix? What do you think about it?
The Master Secret.
The Master Secret, yeah. I got Master Key, yeah. I'm so used to saying the word Master Key all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Toby Ambrose wants to know, he said, when asking a question, what part of the person wants to know? Is it your soul, mind, spirit, what and why?
He said when the person's asking
When
the
the
question,
person asks a question, he wants to know what part of that person being wants to know that question.
well, only the person who asked the question would know that.
I guess he doesn't know. I guess he doesn't know what part of his being is asking that question.
I mean, 'cause I know why I ask questions. It depends on the mood or what's going on at the time. I might be at the store and I say, oh, what type of ice cream is that? We already know what part of the body is asking that. Or if I see a chicken, I say, oh, what's your name? We already know what part is asking that. So, it depends on the question, you know what I mean? And the circumstances.
All right. All the other questions are 9-ball questions.
Yeah, I'm going to go sit my brother right there. He likes asking those questions. And with that, I'd like to pass the class over to my brother, Aket Atunreye. That's enough questions.
Before I go into the next question, I just want to make a point to the brother also. I look at the word question. The word question, you have the word quest. If you're on a quest for something, it could be knowledge, it's information in any kind. And like he said earlier, it depends on the circumstance of what it is.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And I want to make something clear. We're not spooky people. We eat.
Yeah, I think some people don't
We
realize
shower. we sleep, we run, we watch television.
I think it's like the master teacher said one time, people think that we just sit around and just chant, meditate all day.
We do chant and we do meditate, we do
But not
pray,
all-
we give
but
respect
not
to our
all day.
ancestors, we help our elders. We're cultural people, we're alive, we sing, we dance. That's what we are. We're African people. We're reclaiming ourselves. We're not going to stand out here and just be spooked out for people, at all. This is not no doomsday thing like our master teacher explained to us many years ago. And anybody else in the audience, if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. That's what we're here for.
What's up? This?
That's up.
I was on YouTube today, and there's
YouTube.
information about the Crimea and Russia situation. And
I should have known this question was coming up. Go ahead.
yeah, that they found pyramids underground in Crimea,
Okay.
and they dated it. They carbon dated it, and it seems to be the oldest on the planet. Creature, they said a mummified creature was down. I mean, these are discoveries that are recent. But my question is, dealing with Russia in this sensitive event right now,
Mm-hmm.
teacher, what do you expect us? I mean, what do you expect to happen as far as this dilemma?
All right. I'm not a theorist, make that clear. We're not prophetic. Like, I'm going to know exactly what's going to happen to Russia based upon, some kind of prophetic thing. Clearly, by watching the news, by seeing what's going on, there's escalation. One thing our master teacher told us recently, he said, we are in the seventh thunder. And if you read the Holy Tablets, in the seventh thunder, one of the confirmation is you're going to have disrespect for world leadership. And that's been happening for the last few years. You have uprising all over the world. Russia is just a part of what's happening all over. It started in Egypt. It started in the Eastern country, influenced by religions. A lot of bloodshed. People are retaliating against whatever power that may be present at the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's something I want to address also, because you brought up something about YouTube. Because something is on YouTube, because they say, hey, we found this, we found that, how can you really confirm it? I say that, right? And this is not to really address you. When somebody says, we have, by using carbon 14 dating, thank you very much, we have determined that this is the oldest pyramid. You can't use carbon dating on stone. That's impossible. It doesn't decay. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, and this is all to the scholars out here also who's tried to dispute what our master teacher has taught us about how old the pyramids really go back. They say, oh, our master teacher's making that up, saying that the pyramids go back millions of years. You know what I'm saying? People was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense, because they say the pyramids are only 6,000 years old. Well, how can you determine that if you cannot put a date on a stone? So what they say is, oh, because we found pottery of people here or there, and this, and this is how we determine that. The fact is, that's not always factual, because the more they dig, right, the more they realize, oh, they are much older, and they are much more advanced. For example, in the temples of Seti, on the walls, there's a chronological family chart that goes back from the first pharaoh all the way down, right? And it's a span of thousands and thousands of years, 30,000, some 300,000, you know what I'm saying, years. And the Mukasu anthropologists who go there say, oh, that's impossible. These were death worshippers. They don't know what they're talking about. That can't be true. It can't go back that old. You know what I'm saying? When in fact it does, because why are they constantly in Egypt digging up bodies? They're constantly digging up our ancestors. They're constantly digging up different pharaohs. Because here it says this pharaoh goes back 10,000 years ago. Here it says this one goes 16,000 years ago. Here it says this one right here goes back 17,000 years ago. And you're finding different bodies of them. They say, I'm the son of such and such, the son of such and such, the son of such and such. But you find such and such that says 17,000, you find such and such as 6,000. But you still want to dispute that based upon what you think is the authority. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this to break the spell, to help to break the spell. You know, one thing our math teacher made it clear, you know, it's 3 words they introduced. You have author, you have authority, and you have authentic, right? It was a class he said many years ago. He said, we don't have enough authors to have the authority to say what is and what is not authentic. You know what I'm saying? How to analyze and prove something as a fact. You know what I'm saying? There's 3 ways to do it. You have the experience test, you have the evidence, and you have the reasoning. You know what I'm saying? And the writing is on the wall, literally. You know what I'm saying? That says how old we go back. You know, one thing about the Mokasu people, they always try to tie themselves into our history. I brought this up earlier in some way. You know what I'm saying? To try to say that. There's nothing in Europe that goes as far back as anything in Africa. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, and I'll address the next question, the oldest astrological map in the world is in Africa. And that is at the Napta Playa, which is in between what they call Egypt and Sudan today. You know what I'm saying? That's Nuwapia land. Because Nuwapia or Wu-nuwaupu ties into an Apata. That's where we tied in. And we're continuing in today. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was just talking about the Crimea and the Russia situation because it's a distraction, really, really these discoveries that they're unearthing.
Yes.
And it's a possibility that they unearthed many things that we don't know about.
Just remember something about Russia. You know what I'm saying? Remember the whole thing with Hitler and the, I don't know if you're familiar with a lot of the books our math teacher dropped, like Extraterrestrials and Creation, what else? A few of the Supreme Mathematic books. Help me out, brother, I'm talking to you. I was asking for references of different Supreme Mathematic books, like the Extraterrestrial Creation, Shambhala and Algorithm Cities Within the Earth, Mission Earth, Man from Planet Risk. Thank you very much.
You got extraterrestrial.
Thank you. A lot of those particular books address about the history of Russia and different European countries that was in league with Hitler and the whole Platines conspiracy, meaning that those were extraterrestrial beings, or those people were in tune with beings who says they're from the Pleiades star constellation, who had a particular agenda on this planet. And we know it's all dealing with harvesting anyway. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean by harvesting?
Humans?
Exactly, harvesting human beings. That's what it was all about. You know, our master teacher revealed to us about the agenda of the Pleiadians and their, what's the word called? Their contract or agreement with other extraterrestrials who were over them and how they had to produce a certain amount of food for them. That's what that's all about. Just like the 8,400 years genetic experiment that took place with what you call the story of Yaqub, the big head scientist, and how he's trying to breed a particular species of melanin recessive creatures to serve them up also. And he was influenced by those beings also. You know what I'm saying? So just want to shine light on that to really see. But to sit here and say, hey, I know exactly what's going to happen in Russia. I know exactly what's happening with the airlines. You know what I'm saying? With, you know, their disappearance. Can't sit here and say that unless, you know, we being given certain information about it, and then we could just reveal it to our people as far as what's really going on with that. One thing is for sure, the thing that we have to be more concerned about is getting ourselves together. This is our time. You know what I mean? We have to get ourselves psychologically, mentally, spiritually, and physically ready for what's next. You know what I'm saying? Embrace our culture, learn our language. You know what I'm saying? Do all the things that we were taught as Wu-nuwaupu. Those are the things that we need in this day and time to perfect ourselves, you know what I'm saying, as a people. And I hope that was enough to answer your question, good brother.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Go ahead, sister. Okay, come on up to the mic. It's your first time here? No. Okay. All right.
My question is this, speaking of conspiracies, I'm concerned about the Obamacare, far as, you know, it's a rush thing for people to get the medical and all. Yeah, but my thing is this, I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Because it seems to me it's more about the people health, okay? And
Yes.
now I noticed that looking online, looking at some of the places that you can apply through to get insurance, they were kind of expensive. And I also looked at the Medicaid. Now, what I noticed about the Medicaid, it has, and now it's not like it used to be. Now, since they're pushing this, it's changed. Now, it used to be just Medicaid. Now it's Medicaid / capital letters CHIP. So they pushing that chip. So what they're doing is, I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. So if you don't have the money to pay the insurance, and you know, then they got another option where you can go through the Medicaid.
Okay.
Before it was kind of difficult to do that, you know, because you had to. They had restrictions on who can get the Medicaid. Now they make it so that, okay, wow, you know, if you're single and you need Medicaid, certain provisions and whatnot, you're able to get it. But I noticed, I said, wow, I noticed those big capital letters, CHIP, CHIP. So that means, okay, probably that the poor people, the ones that's being pushed into the low income bracket or whatnot, or can't afford the Medicare, they get the Medicaid, they're putting the chips in people. So my question is this, far as helping like Wu-nuwaupians, what's your thought on that? And how do you get around this? And they got the deadline for the 31st because some people don't have the insurance and being stressed out, well, what should I do? I mean, now, if you don't have the money to pay for that, it's not good to apply for the Medicaid, right? Because is that telling us that they're going to put a chip in you?
Okay, I see a question is leading. Give me a moment. My brother here is more knowledgeable on the Obamacare, things of that nature. I'm going to go ahead and let him take that
But
question.
does it seem like a conspiracy to me?
Okay, hold on. I'll tell you, I know enough about it.
Yeah,
Yes,
get penalized and all that.
listen. I'm gonna explain something to you. When you was a Christian, they said that you cannot buy or sell without the mark. You are in chaos.
Yes.
People are acting like you're not in the beast. The Illuminati runs the country. We've been here so long that when you're in chaos, you don't know you're in chaos. How old are you about?
I'm 52.
So you've been around, 60. So you saw what they were doing to us, right? As a child, right? Now, the new generation didn't see that. They didn't see the transaction from the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, you know, when we were still being attacked by the Caucasians, right? Now we're in 2014, the kids are sellouts, or black Caucasians. And when they kill somebody like Trayvon Martin, and all these other black people are appalled. How can this happen? But people who are older know this is the same devil, same tricks. It's just that you got so caught up in their lifestyle, in the culture, that you forgot you're in the devil's playground. You are the chicken inside of the cage. There's another chicken that came in the cage and said, look, I know how to get out the cage. You hear me? But what happened is we get so intertwined in the cage, we're like, well, we're getting free meals. And if something goes wrong with me, we get Medicaid or Obamacare. You hear me? Because eventually the chicken life is what? Heading towards where? The slaughter. We are all heading for slaughter if we don't listen to the chicken that said, look, I can show you how to get out this cage. If we were, this brother here had been along a long time as an Ansar, we had a certain diet, certain way we ate, some way we did things, a certain way we sleep. Pop took away the luxuries that you called them back then, right? And showed you how to be natural and survive because you're in chaos, right? You don't look at the normal way of living as luxurious. You look at it as hard. But if a child, like that baby right there, right? That's a child, right? That mother take care of the baby. She makes sure she put clothes on to keep him warm. You know what I mean? Or if it gets too hot, she takes certain clothes off of him, right? But she knows that the environment can be hard for the child, so she already in her mind, she has to prepare before she takes that child in any type of environment. You know what I mean? If that baby was born in Africa, in a hot climate, the mother would not put clothes on that child, and the child wouldn't wake up and say, well, damn, it's kind of hot. Can you turn the air conditioner on? You know what I mean?
because they're not in chaos. They're dealing with things naturally. We're in a chaotic society. And you're being governed by witches and warlocks who have infiltrated the governments, the fraternities, the jobs, you feel me, the franchises. And these are the ones that are dictating what you eat, what you watch, and what you do. People sit there and say, Obamacare. They don't need Obamacare to put a chip in you. You already got a chip in you. They got nanotechnology where they can create a nanobite that can actually bite you like, oh, and you thought it's a mosquito, and they can implant you. They already do remote, what do they call remote viewing? They got you got a camera right there on your laptop, your phone. You think they can't tap into this? Where's that phone at? You think they can't tap your phone? You got a camera on your phone. You think when they created the technology, it was just for taking pictures? They can actually look at let me see that phone real quick. The technology is so deep, we're so busy looking at this, and we're not looking at that. They have it where the technology is so advanced where they can actually have a camera built within the screen that you're watching. How does that, here's a question. You ever heard of Nielsen ratings? How do they know how many people are watching? Huh? 17.5 million people watched Lost this weekend. How would they know how many people watch the television program? Obamacare ain't your problem. It's doing what you want to do is your problem. Because you're going to pay for Obamacare whether you like it or not. This the way you got a license? Who got a license? Raise their hand. Yes. Okay. Do you pay a registration each year? At one time you didn't have